Hi, this is a 2014 Ram 3500 dually, and I have the EMF upper and lower ball joints on this truck. I put them in at 725,250 kilometers, and right now it's at 1,338,000. So there's roughly 612,000 kilometers, almost 613,000 kilometers on these ball joints. I did another short video of the up and down movement of the lower ball joint. There's no movement of the upper ball joint just yet, other than up and down, which is normal. So I'm going to do a real world service of these ball joints. Basically, as they show you on the EMF videos, you can remove the set screw and tighten them up. And I'm going to show you how that's done real world on a truck that hasn't been touched yet. I haven't even cleaned it off, as you can see. And it's pretty simple to do. And hopefully I'm not that experienced at making these videos, but I'll do the best I can to show you what takes place and what you end up with in the end. I do have jack stand under there for those who are wondering if I'm just sitting here with the jack holding the truck up, but I keep the jack under there just in case as well. So I'll just stop the video briefly here and we'll get started. I'll start by getting everything cleaned up. As you can see, this truck has been regularly greased. I grease these ball joints every time I do an oil change, and I do them at 25,000 kilometers. Again, this truck is mostly used on the highway. I transport RVs for a living, and so it doesn't see the abuse that a lot of trucks out there will see, but you know, plenty of potholes and cracks in the highway and a lot of kilometers. So these ball joints are having a toll taken on them, needless to say. We'll get her cleaned up and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so got most of the grease buildup and mud and whatnot cleaned off. The key on the lower ball joint here is to have access to the set screw. As you can see, it's right up in there. If your installer watch the instructions properly, got the ball joint put in the right way, you don't have to pull the knuckle off to get at that set screw. So what we'll do here now, because of this area being so tight in here, you do have to take the nuts off the lower ball joint, the upper ball joint, hammer your knuckle down to give you enough space to get your spanner wrench in there once you get that set screw out. So that'll be the next step, knock off these nuts and try and get that knuckle snapped down. Okay, so I loosened the top nut off. I left it pretty much just about flush with the threads, and took the bottom one right off. It comes off with an impact. I just used my big DeWalt with a well, I guess it's a pretty good size nut, so it's 1 7/16 inches, and it buzzes it off no problem. You know, you can't use it to put it back on, because once you've broke it loose from the knuckle, it'll just spin. So you've got to get it pretty tight and seated back into the knuckle before you can torque it up afterwards. So now we'll go ahead, we'll get that set screw out here, and I'll show you how we get the spanner in. I'll do that live and just tweak it a bit to get her tightened up. I'm an old guy, and with that sledgehammer there, I hit on her right in that area there. Oh, maybe a dozen times. You don't have to try and kill it. You just keep hitting it. You know, get a good solid punch on it each time, and like I say, after about a dozen hits, it popped loose okay. Again, don't try and kill it, because it's hard to control this big sledge when you're trying to kill something. I did tweak my shield a little bit there, but straightened it out with a pair of pliers and it's just fine. And you want to watch, of course. You got a wire back in there, so you want to stay away from that. But it happens, and we'll carry on. All right. Get my little pick in here to clean out the center of this set screw. It's not too bad. Should be able to get a wrench in there. And get her loose. And just back her right out. And there it is. Put it somewhere safe so you don't lose it. Then pull this boot back down here so you can get your spanner wrench. If you buy the EMF Ball Joint kit, they give you a nice little spanner wrench. I found that it had to be modified a little bit. If you can see, I ground it here and here just to give it a little bit more clearance, because the holes for the pins are in pretty close to the ball joint itself. And then you just got to feel it around until you can find out where your holes are. Huh. Everybody be laughing at that one. Gotta be back here. There we go. There we go. And then you just get her, like, I'm not even making it really super tight. I had 20 thou, 25 thou on the other side, 20 thou on this side. So I'm aiming just to get it back to a thou or two for grease. And I might just about be there, I think. Well, I do say this side was giving me a little more grief than the other side. And I'm tight. There, I got it hooked on there, and that's all she's got. So I would say we're probably within the spec we want to be. I'll do a measurement once we get it all tightened back up, and you'll see what it's at. All right, so just putting it back together here, we got that little set screw back in. The nylock, they are really only supposed to be used once, at least in my rule of thumb they are. So seeing as I don't have a replacement, I can get one later, I guess. I put a little bit of blue Loctite on it. And that should give you the insurance once it's torqued to 150 foot-pounds. Now, as you can see, I've got the jack underneath my knuckle here, because till the ball joint stud is seated in the knuckle, you're not going to be able to tighten that nut up. It'll just spin the ball joint. So I've got the top one tightened in there. It's torqued to 70 foot-pounds. And it's seated nice and tight in there. Now with the jack under it, you should be able to, I'm going to give this a try. It worked on the other side, but give it a good shot with an impact, and it should spin it up nice and quick and get it seated so that you can do the torque on it. Hear that? It sounded like it did. Grab our torque wrench. Set it to 150. EMF gives a spec of 140 to 160. So I usually strike that right down the middle. And there we have it. And that's it. Didn't pull the caliper, didn't pull the hub, didn't have to do anything but knock it loose from the ball joints. Did an adjustment. I'll stop the camera now and I'll set up my dial gauge. I'll do a measurement for you, and I'll tie that in at the end of the video.